I was excited to play this game because when Jonathan was reading the rule book, he was going, ooh, ooh, oh, ooh, this is gonna be good. Hey everybody, what's up? My name's Mackenzie.
And I'm Jonathan.
We are husband and wife, and we'd like to welcome you to TerreDice.
And today we're taking a look at Umbrella, which is published by Pandasaurus.
Under my umbrella, Ella, Ella.
That was like the best Glee episode ever.
It's also a normal pop song. But
that's true. You know what? But I'm in the musical mood because this is a board game about a New York musical.
Yes.
Under umbrellas.
Yes.
So we have these sliding umbrellas that are choreographed across the streets of New York City in this like intersection. And that's the theme for our abstract puzzle game.
Yeah, so if you're in the mood to come to New York with us and design the next outdoor musical with umbrellas and sliding in the rain, then just keep watching.
Okay, now I'm trying to picture this theme that we're choreographing this outdoor musical, and this is essentially what I picture is like those James Corden like flash dances that happen in the streets.
Yes.
It's basically that. But anyway, what Umbrella is, you have a personal sort of intersection in front of you, and you are sliding these umbrella tiles back and forth across it. So when you push a tile in, it pushes a tile out the other side, and you're trying to create these specific patterns. So if you can get a pattern in a certain color, then you'll complete that pattern. You'll collect one of these scoring tokens that you'll cover a umbrella of that color, and then those tiles will get passed into the available supply next to the players around you. So you'll constantly have this sort of like round sort of collection of umbrellas that are getting passed between players.
It's like picture a Rubik's Cube or one of those like sliding picture puzzles where you're trying to slide everything into the right place. That is essentially what we're doing on this board, and it hurt my brain.
That is a pretty good description of it. It is kind of like the Rubik's Cube sides, especially because as soon as you score one of your patterns, you're actually going to pass that pattern to the person to the left of you, and that can now go in a different orientation. So now that person has to score the same pattern that you just had, which can get really interesting, especially when you run out of space and you start covering patterns that they already had.
Yes. So then you can, that's where the player interaction comes in, where you can be like, I can see what you're working on. There's also going to be these umbrellas at the bottom of your board, which are you, by the end of the game, you're gonna want at least most of those off the board, because that's going to be a -1 point for each one of them that you have left, or you get +2 if none of them are there.
Now, the last sort of like major sort of scoring element is that you do have, I mentioned at the beginning that you're covering these like different colored umbrellas in your little scoring tile. There are 4 different scoring tiles that you can swap in and out. They give you various types of scoring. So it could be for groups of umbrellas. If I get the red, the blue, and the green, then I'm gonna get, 3 points or 5 points depending on how many. And so you have these various different like scoring mechanisms, which gets really interesting because you start to play like a spatial puzzle. Okay, I want 4 in a row but not touching, and it's a lot of fun.
Yes, and that balance really comes in there because having those different colors that you have to keep switching to in order to multiply those points makes it a complicated puzzle in the sense that you could have a bunch of red on your board because you were trying to solve these different puzzles. But if you keep solving for those red puzzles, all of a sudden your board's going to look mostly red, and that's not going to help you with those points. So it's all about swapping in those different colors and trying, what I learned, try not to, if it already kind of looks like the shape, don't trust it. Make it come together. Don't try and make it work from what is already laid out.
Yeah, now that's another really big point that I want to mention is like, this game is all about abandoning your strategy and doing something new when the environment changes. So you may get a new scoring tile from somebody. You may all of a sudden have access to a lot of yellow when you really needed green. You got to just make it work. So sometimes you have to think, okay, in 2 turns I can do this, but in 1 turn I can do this, and this gets me much closer to scoring. And you constantly kind of have to abandon your plans and come up with new ones.
Yes, that was definitely my mistake the first time we played. I spent so long just trying to make my plan work and stick to like the shape I was working on.
Yeah, you go like 6 or 7 turns without scoring something.
But now I am the master of, if it works, that I'm just going to abandon that whole plan and not hold on to that. But we got to play this at 2 several times, and we also got to play this at 4 several times. It works at 2 and I really like it too, but I think it really shined through at that 4-player count.
Ooh, I actually think I liked it more at 2.
Really?
Yeah, I
Why?
really did. I think just the shorter downtime, it's like we were back and forth. You could plan, actually, back to planning, you could plan a little bit better because anything you pass me, I'd pass right back. So you had a little bit more access to umbrellas. I actually really like the 2-player experience and found it a lot of fun.
It was interesting at 4-player because depending on, I just never was pulling from my left side, and so that meant that they had nothing on their
Complete
right
vacuum.
side, and so they were not able to do anything from that side of the board. So and that way it made it complicated. But yeah, I don't know. It was great. It was really good at both, but I was happy to be able to play like a really snappy like 2-player. It works, and then the 4-player, you do sit in silence with that 4-player. I think we were all like just staring at the board.
A lot of like, don't take the green, don't take the green.
Yeah.
No, so yeah, this is an abstract puzzle game. It's quick. It's like under 45 minutes, under 20 or so, I'd say, for 2 players, or 30 minutes maybe. But essentially, you're just kind of sliding stuff around and trying to get your specific patterns in front of you. In a 2-player game, you get to flip over those scoring tiles before you pass them to the person across from you. So there's a little bit more like challenge in terms of what you're scoring.
Yeah,
so.
I would say I was excited to play this game because when Jonathan was reading the rule book, he was going, ooh, this is gonna be good. He's definitely like project his feelings while he's reading the rule book beforehand.
Yeah,
mostly because he knows how much I like abstract puzzles, so that he know if it's a good abstract puzzle, I'll play it with him a lot.
Yeah, and we put a couple of our other favorites. I mean, like we love Azul, we love games like that where you're thinking of these patterns multiple turns ahead, and this is very much one of those games.
Now, are there any negatives that you want to point out?
Yeah, I think the 2 main things that I would mention are like, number one, it's because it's like you have these scoring tiles. Okay, I have these like things in front of me that I'm trying to score. Once you get the game, it starts to feel a little bit samey. It's like, okay, now I know how to make that pattern happen. Just like I could solve a Rubik's Cube, right? And I can't solve a Rubik's Cube. I'm terrible at Rubik's Cubes. But like, once you know, oh, if there's 2 in the top and 2 in the bottom, I can make them line up by pulling 2, pushing 2. You start to like learn the moves that'll get you where you need to go. And I feel like it makes the game a little bit more predictable. And then in that 4-player, I'm just sitting waiting to do what I already know is the optimal turn. Especially if there's like 4 greens on my left. No one's gonna take 4 greens before my next turn. So you spend some time where you've already got your next turn pretty much in the bag.
I think that's a fair assumption. Yeah. So with that being said, I would say this is not a game that you are going to want to play every day. It is one of those games that you want to space out so that maybe you don't become accustomed to that Rubik's Cube style of that you think you figured it out.
Yeah. I say the second thing is like, I love the theme of like, we're doing a New York musical, but it did feel just the slightest bit slapped on. It was like, I think the like theme of us walking across the street totally makes sense. Oh, it's a rainy day, we got umbrellas walking across the street. But I feel like they could have leaned into the New York musical theme a little bit more and done some more with the choreography or like something like that. Like I felt like that element of it, it was like mentioned in the beginning of the rule book and then not anywhere else. And I would have loved to see like more musical elements, more like, oh, the first act to the second act or something related to that. So you're saying
because they decided to go with that for their prompt, they should have continued that?
Yeah,
or just have
it's
gone
like the
with
only mention of the musicals like on the first page and then everything else is just mechanics.
Yeah, because I think they also could have done like, when I first thought about this, when I first saw this game, I immediately thought of like the Pixar short where it's like all the umbrellas walking through New York City.
Oh yeah, and the 2 umbrellas.
So I think if they had just like gone into like the busy New York street scene of just like a rearranging patterns, that would have been fine. But I think for a marketing purpose, they tried to like throw Singing in the Rain on top of it, but it didn't really follow through completely. It's a beautiful game.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Speaking of though, like how they actually did it, like Vincent Dutrait's art absolutely looks incredible. It really shines through in this game. He's so good at this style of thing, this like beautiful but old New York City. It's like that vintage look. He's really good at nailing. Yeah.
But those are our overall thoughts on the game. Thank you so much to Pandasaurus for providing us with this game. We really enjoy getting to check it out. No other monetary value was exchanged for us to do this review, so all thoughts are our own. And I hope you guys liked learning about Umbrella. If you liked this video, make sure to like and subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know whenever we put out a new video. And we'll see you next time.
Happy playing.
Slide. sliding in the rain, just sliding in the rain.